All right, so I really didn't know what to say about this charger my dad gave me. I really don't like talking on camera because I sound nasal. But needless to say, since my dad passed, I have been basically using this car as a tool to get through my grievance. It's parked in a safe area, so I'll come out here and have access to it when I need to, and sit and pretty much talk to my dad. You know, me and him, when I was a little girl, he would work on this car when I was a little girl on top of his big Dodge van. Um, Countless other cars, my stepmom's Datsun that she had that I learned how to drive. That's how I learned how to drive a car at 14 on her little red Datsun. It's just, me and my dad has history with working on cars, needless to say. So he taught me the basics, and I may not get it right the first time. I may tear it up or whatever, but I'm always able to, call him and say, hey, this is happening and that's happening, and what do I do? And oh my God, and he'll walk me through it. Or I have my papa now here in South Carolina, who y'all saw earlier, who got it to crank a little bit or turn over or whatever you want to call it. I just wanted to hear the sound, you know. I just wanted to see if it would talk to me, and I don't come out here and I don't touch it unless I'm in company of somebody. Yes, a man, but needless to say, you never know if a snake crawls under here, or black widow spiders love old cars. They just love old little spaces to get into. So I come out here when I just start, kind of missing my dad a little bit. So I'll come out here and tinker with it or whatever. Now, everybody has pretty much like, oh my God, the monstrosity. It's horrible. It's this, it's that. I really don't care anybody's opinion on this car. The reason being is because I've asked my dad for this car all the time since I was 15 years old, when we was living in upstate New York. Daddy, where's the car? And I've asked my dad for this car countless times since I was 15. Hey Dad, where's the car at? Where's the car at? Don't worry about it. It's put up. It's in a safe place. Da da da. Then I would get it's rusted out so bad you don't want it, or you barely working on your own stuff, you don't want that car, this, that, and the third. My dad gave me everything under the sun other than where's the car. And I can laugh at it now because I didn't find out that he gave me the car until after he died. Switch the camera. Yeah, I didn't find out till after he died that he gave me the car, which has always been my dream car. This is the first car I rode in coming home from the hospital, January 29th, 1976. I came home in this car. My dad bought this car when he was stationed in South Dakota. I have the original paperwork for the car. So for him to give me this car in his passing really did something to me, He left something to me that I've always wanted. For one, he left something of himself that was his, that he cherished and kept throughout all these years. My dad bought this car when he was like 23 years old, I want to say. He bought it in 71. He was born in 49. We'll figure out the math later. However, this is the very first prized possession my dad owned, and he gave it to me. we used to sit here and joke about, he always said, well, I'm going to give this car to my firstborn son. I'm going to give this car to my firstborn son. And I was like, okay, Salon, that's my brother. I'm like, okay, my brother would love this car. Da da da. And then I would pick on him and say, but Dad, I'm your firstborn son because I do all the boy stuff. You taught me how to work on a car. You taught me carpentry. You taught me basic plumbing. You taught me a lot of boy stuff. And we would sit and laugh, and he'd be like, no, but seriously, I don't know what my thought process is at this point on why he waited until he passed away. I guess it was a big old laugh, shocker. I don't know. When I read the will and he said Tina Mitchell gets the 1970 Dodge Charger. Or I think it said 69. I can't remember. But I have a copy of the will. And I just cried my eyes out because I just been asking for this car forever. Before it was this rusted. Before it looked this bad or whatever. And why? Because, I wanted to fix it up and build it and da-da-da and whatever you call it. And I wanted to drive the car. Well, my dad had other plans. And he did what he did. I love him to death. And he gave me the car. So, I know everybody's like, oh my God, it looks horrible. You know what? When you love somebody and when you have been through certain things with them, it doesn't matter what they left behind, what it looks like. Because all I see is beauty in this car. I see my dad's love in this car. I see my dad's legacy in this car. I see a lot of things people would have no clue to appreciate in this car. So with that being said, I don't even care if it was a rust grain left of this car. I would have cherished that rust grain. I would try to figure out how I could buy another one just like it and tape that piece of rust grain to that car and say, hey, this is part of my dad. I mean, who knows? It is what it is. But it's not as bad as it looks. It is as bad as it looks when it comes to my pockets. But you know what? Time is time is time is time. Money is money is money is money. Anybody know me knows I make money. Anybody knows I have no problem making money. So it's not even about the money when it comes to this car. It's about me taking time to enjoy the pleasure of every screw, every nut, every bolt, every rust that I will end up grinding off. Everything that I do when I touch this car, it's reminding me of being with my dad. So I don't care what anybody thinks. And I know people are like, oh, well, it's going to take $50,000 and it's going to take $30,000 and I'll come out there and I'll help you and I'll this and I'll that. At the end of the day, I appreciate all of that. But I also have to be cautious of people's intentions. I have to be cautious of, things that make me not trust people and everything like that. So if I have to do piece by piece by myself, and then if I can't do it, then somebody comes along and they help me with it, that's completely fine. I'm not putting this car in nobody's shop for somebody else to rebuild. I want to do it myself. If I have to take a welding class, that's fine. That's probably the only thing that I don't know how to do when it comes to certain things is weld. It's fine. It's fine. It's completely fine. It's pretty much about measurements and putting things where it's supposed to be in order for things to line up. That's simple math. It's geometry. Hell, I took trigonometry when I was in school. You know what I'm saying? I'm not dumb. I'm not slow. And by any means do I not have the will or the drive to do this. So it is what it is. It's going to get done. It's going to get done on God's time. It's going to get done on my dad's time. And it's going to get done on my time. And when I do it, you know, I'll record bits and pieces here and there, like, you know, I've been doing to document what I'm doing or whatever. If anybody want to donate anything, hey, inbox me. Reach out to me. I don't mind $1. I'm not saying I won't take a handout or anything like that or a donation. That's perfectly great. If you want to mail me some parts that you see that I may need, you know, hey, we can set that up too. It's a lot of stuff this car needs. It needs a lot. But the crazy thing is, I have been buying parts on top of parts on top of parts, tools on top of tools on top of tools. When I tell you, I've been buying tools. I bought a battery box because there wasn't one. First thing that ever went in the car that I bought. You know, bought a battery. I got spark plugs. I got wires. Let's see. I got my generator. I got jack stands. I got my impact wrench set that I just bought. Air filter. I bought my compressor that's in there. Yes, the car has no floor. It's perfectly normal that it's been sitting for so long that it doesn't have a floor. I just bought the key cylinder in order to have that. Oh my gosh, it's been so much stuff that I have bought just to prepare myself. And look, it shuts fine. To prepare myself, I've got sanders, I've got wire brush thingies. Those are the valve cover gaskets. Oil filter. My mask. So when I start fully dismantling the car, that, you know, I have my PPE. That's the zinc oil that I bought. Shit. You just don't, people don't understand. Every time I get a couple of dollars, I'm going to spend it on this car. The new cover. Vinyl cover. To keep it dry. When I tell you it's so much stuff, I got 2 sets of jack stands. I bought a floor pan jack. I first coated it down in transmission fluid to kind of stop the rust that was going on in it. That I found out, old school mechanic told me, hey, coat it down in transmission fluid so it can kind of stop where the rust is so it doesn't continue to rust out. I covered the whole car in transmission fluid. I sure did. Right there. That whole gallon was put into this car. On the hood, on the inside, interior. I took the valve covers off, guys, because I'm going to soak them and clean them. So I had to cover the engine up so stuff, debris doesn't get in the engine. But I'm going to clean the valve cover. I'm going to soak them and clean them. Just cause, you know? I mean, the fuck? It's mine. I can do what I want with it. And then as time goes on, when I get it in its final spot where I am going to be tearing it apart, is when I'm going to be cutting this roof off. Eventually. Not to say it's my first priority, but this is going to come off. And, you know, I'm going to replace the floor. Look, the floor is gone. But the rear seats are intact. The seats themselves are intact. The dashboard is intact. To the best of its whatever. I don't even care about the cracks in it. It's what makes it the car. You know what I'm saying? The doors. You know, they look good. I may have some surface rust here and there. That's fine. in doing my research. The rockers, you know, making sure these are solid, and they are for the most part. You know, a little flash rush. I'm not worried about it. But the rockers are solid. And looking in the inner rockers, they, I guess, may possibly be solid. That's a good thing, you know. So I'm taking away all of the good things that's with this car. I will figure it out as time goes on. If I get in over my head, I'm sure I can call on some people to help me in some way, shape, or form. I'm not saying that I don't want help. I just don't want people to take advantage because I need the help. And you know, people do that. Oh, well, there's a girl who needs some help. I'm going to charge her $35,000, $50,000 to help her rebuild her car. And you know what? That's not me. My daddy made me smarter than that. He did tell me, if it gets too much over your head, there's somebody out there that can help you. And I believe in that. You know what I'm saying? Like, the windows rolled down perfectly fine. All of them. It's crazy because I remember when I was 3 or 4, 5 maybe, I busted the window, this window right here. I threw a rock and I busted the window out. And my daddy beat me with an afro comb. To this day, I refuse to use an afro comb. I'm not going to do it. I hate afro combs, but I remember that beating. My daddy tore me up because I busted the window out his car. I busted the window out his car. You know? So, it's a lot of history. It's a lot of memories with this car that I will hold dear, cherish, and everything like that. So, as the time goes on, as journey continues, I'm 48. I give it 5 years. This car will be restored. I give it about 5 years. And if it don't take 5 years and it take 10, that's fine too. But it's gonna happen. It's definitely gonna happen. I appreciate my dad for doing what he did and giving me this car. You know, it's a lot of work. He know. I'm up for the challenge. Don't play with me. I'm up for the challenge. And it's not as bad as what it looks like. It's just, I don't know why they sprayed all this brown stuff on it, but it is what it is. It's going to take time, and I'm ready. It doesn't have a floor in the trunk. That's completely gone. Look, y'all. The frame rails. I could put my hand through them. Frame rails are shot to hell. Leaf spring racks or whatever you call them, shot to freaking hell. All of this gone, you know. But I have watched a lot of people on YouTube that rebuilt worse, that put together so much worse, that this car is solid beyond imagine in its own different places, that it's worth putting back together. And like I said, when I get it to its spot where I'm going to dismantle it, first thing going is these quarter panels. Quarter panels are going to be gone. I'm going to do the trunk, rear valance, tail light thingy, whatever you call it, the trunk rails. All of this needs to be replaced. The trunk is in great condition despite what it looks like. it's in great condition. The trunk, all it needs is, some cleaning, flash rush. I ain't worried about it. This rear trunk panel needs to go. That needs to get cut out. I can't wait to get into it the way I want to get into it. And yes, Law will be reborn eventually. And the reason why I call it Law is because that's my dad's nickname. So my dad was 43 years law enforcement. Corrections, military police, any type of police you can think of, state police with Alaska. That was my dad. My dad was law enforcement. So I named the car after him, of course, Law. Family call him Law, but I added the W to it and called it Law. And it's Mitch's Law. So my dad's name was Mitch because of Mitchell, and his name was Law. So this is Law. I think Law knows me very well because Law probably be laughing at me like, Lord, here come this little girl out here coming to mess with me. But it is what it is because I'm here and I don't mind it. And so, like I said, I'm going to just play with it, make it do what it do the best that I can, and learn what I can learn and do what I could do. I can turn a screw. I could pop a lock. I could bust a wrench, all of that. So, and that's all this car is screws and nuts and bolts. It's not like today's cars with electronics and bull crap. So, stay tuned. It is what it is. I can't wait to take this hood off and get all this rust out and start rebuilding the hood the best way that I can, and getting advice on stuff. I'm all for it, man. The fact that my firewall is not that bad. Firewall is not that bad. The cowl is not that bad. It's solid. It's not that bad. I can pretty much point out bad. This roof, oh my God, Swiss cheese. The roof is Swiss cheese, y'all. Oh my God. The A-pillars. And I've learned all of these parts by watching everything on YouTube. These A-pillars are possibly savable. I don't know. We gonna see. I ain't there yet. But the rockers are good. I'm glad the rockers are good. Structurally, it's kind of sound, It's not anything that I would woe is me over. It's structurally, I think it's pretty solid, He left me he left me enough to play with. He left me enough to keep me busy. And that's what it is. I'ma make it do what it do, boo-boo. And y'all more than welcome to watch. Like I said, I don't mind it at all because everything is gonna be documented on YouTube. When I move it, I still have to upload the video when I pulled it down here. I got up in the morning. I got up at 5 o'clock one morning, and I got the trailer. When I got to Virginia, y'all, when I tell you I drove 7 hours to get to my daddy's car, loaded it up, rested for about 30-40 minutes, got back on the road, and drove about 8 hours back. 16 hours, 800 miles. I drove my Avalanche to get this car. My dad did work on the Avalanche, and I don't want to let my Avalanche go. But after that trip, the Avalanche looked at me and said, I ain't moving no more. So my Avalanche is down. It's funny. My Avalanche is down, but TJ did the daggone thing when we went all the way to Virginia and got my daddy's car and pulled it back. I left 6 o'clock that morning. I think I got home 11:30, 12 o'clock that night. And like I said, I only stopped at my uncle's house for about 30 minutes, 30 to 45 minutes, sat with him, loaded the car up, got back in the truck, and was on the way back. One thing about me, I'm very determined. I will make stuff happen. I will make shit shake. It's not a problem. That's one of the things that I'm proud of about myself is I will make it happen. And if I can't make it happen, I'm going to find somebody that's going to make it happen. Period, point blank. And if it takes longer, it takes longer. If it's, it is what it is. I'm going to make it happen. I'm going to make it do what it do. So y'all stay tuned and y'all watch and see what I do with Mitch's Law. Because Law is going to be, it ain't going to be a show car. I'm going to tell you that. I'm not doing the whole show car thing. I just want it at least close to back to original as I can get it on my own. If the powers may be, somebody come along and be like, hey, I want to restore this car for you and your dad, blah, blah, blah. I would be so appreciative of it. I would really be appreciative of it. And I would not turn it down. I kid you not. I would just, count it as my dad tapping somebody on the shoulder, telling them what to do. And that's what he did. That's how I look at it. And that's how I will look at it, I would appreciate if somebody said, hey, let me go ahead and da-da-da-da. Eventually, my kids know the car is never to be sold. It's to stay in their names, Now, when I die, I can't control things, obviously. However, they know it's to stay in the family as long as humanly possible. And whatever happens after I leave this world, hey, it is what it is. But it's going to be with me until I'm no longer here. I guarantee you that. And it stuck with my dad until he was no longer here. So that's how it's going to be. I'm not selling it. Can't nobody ask me. Can't nobody offer nothing for me to sell this car. So don't even ask. It is what it is. But I've rambled a lot, and it is what it is, and it is what it's going to be. So we're going to make it do what it do with Mitch's Law.